Winning on Wednesdays, or WOW, an innovative virtual networking opportunity for entrepreneurs all over the globe. Starting each Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, anywhere from 60 to 90 people join our Zoom and share their professions, their passions, and most especially their pastimes with each other. Our vision is to bring together like-minded, caring, and generous professionals who will learn from one another as well as help each other grow in the quality of life. WOW specializes in mentoring and is known as a speed dating service for the business leader looking to grow their networks. Now, today's episode is bringing you quality content about how to save your time, your money, and how about staying sane during this continually changing life that we're in, right? So we're spotlighting the original founder of WOW, Juan Vides, along with WOW's Chief of Operations, Robin Schatzkin, who also keeps WOW engaged and moving forward in its logarithmic growth. Welcome to the program, Juan and Robin.
Thank you. Thank you, Janine, for having us.
Thank you, Janine.
No problem. Thank you, Robin. So Juan, we're going to start off with you. You're the founder, and I think it's really important to get to the heart of WOW and the WOW story. What is the inspiration behind this incredible network of people?
Well, first of all, thank you for that wonderful introduction that you just did. That was well written, by the way. I think it was written by Robin, I believe, but it was great. And no, what really started was really when I ran for public office a few years back, and I spent over $140,000 of my own savings. Nobody helped me. And when you lose that kind of money, I think I would have had better odds in Vegas than for public office. But you spend a lot of money, and it's kind of like you have to, nobody's paying you back, and you have to find another resource. And out of necessity came a networking group that I started, and it just happened. We started at a pizza place. And it grew. Just no reservations. We grab a slice, just a network, just to get to know, become friends. And it grew up to 40 people. And then what happened was the pandemic happened. And then we went all virtual. And since then, it's just grown up to we get over 60 people on a weekly basis, which is truly amazing. I'm wowed myself every week that I see new people that I don't even know. And what's really amazing for me is when I get wowed by people that I don't know that I've helped them without me knowing that I've helped them because I created this networking group.
I agree. It is incredible. So Robin, tell us a little bit about how you got hooked into this very generous group of business owners.
Well, my story is kind of interesting, and it's a great question. I had worked with Juan about 2 or 3 years ago on another project. We had never met face to face, but we had spoken and we worked on a project. And then we both went our separate ways. Another member and I were working on a project, and we needed a website. And he suggested that I speak to this other person's brother that was on another networking site. So the world of networking went into action and sent me to Juan. I said, wait a minute, who's your brother? And he told me Juan. And I said, oh my God, I know Juan. Picked up the phone, called Juan. Juan and I worked on the project and said, what do you do on Wednesdays at 11 o'clock? I said, I don't know. So he said, well, come to WOW. So that was the beginning of this next amazing chapter of my life. He was asking me questions like he asks every other person that calls him. And it seemed to be a perfect fit. And once I came, I was hooked. And I reached out to Juan and said, oh my God, this is amazing. I want to work more. And the magic began.
And here you are, an event planner, and you're also chief of operations. Who knew, right?
Yeah. And if you had told me a year ago that this is where my life would be going and with whom, I don't know that I would have ever have dreamed. This has been really wonderful.
And Juan, back to you. I wanted to say that my first experience of WOW happened as a friend referred me. And as I showed up, he's like, now this is fast paced. And you're popped in and out of breakout rooms. So it's not like any other networking you've ever done. It truly is like speed dating as the intensity of the quickness of these rooms. So what, Juan, inspired you to set up the model the way you did? Because it's very effective and I absolutely love it. So, I've heard other people describe it as being very helpful to them. So what's prompted that kind of setup?
Well, you go to a lot of these networking groups, and I've been doing networking since over 20 years now. since I was a young little puppy, you know. No, I actually, but I've gone to the breakfast, lunches, and dinners and galas. And you know what? I've really taken the best of everything, taken elements of this group and then converted my own, and this is what we created. And you always want to keep people engaged. People, you want to keep them always engaged. And I think that's the key element here is people be engaged with people because we go to a lot of these network events and it's great to hear a lot of people talk, but sometimes it's a little bit boring and stale of the same routine and people like to be different I guess to be part of the group and engage and participate, I think is very important.
And I think one of the elements that I really enjoyed was the fact that in the middle of the meeting, you slow things down and then you have people do shout outs about what happened the week before. And there are many networking groups that do this, but it's not slow. So Robin, do you mind telling me about how did that happen? Because it is really fast paced. I mean, you got to stay on top of your A game with that.
Well, it's interesting because I think that it definitely works, especially by that point in the morning. By 11 o'clock, I believe that people have had their coffee, they've engaged in some work. So they're alert and awake, which is as opposed to some of the other meetings that might be a breakfast meeting or after a full day of work. So I think we're getting people right at the best time for them. What I love about the energy of that is that what people have said to me is that it has helped them really create their elevator speech, that because we go so quickly, it keeps people on their toes and also realizes what they need to work on, perhaps on a sales pitch. The breakout rooms work so well because you never know, number one, who you're going to meet, number two, who you're going to see again, and number three, what the question of the week is. So you get different information from people. The wow shout outs and the wow wave in the middle of the meeting is something that we changed due to the fact that people were complaining that they didn't get a chance to go at the end of the meeting. People had to go to work. So we said, let's try it in the middle. And people love it because there are a number of people who would love to be able to say that to somebody while they're in the room. And we love to help each other. So we definitely take feedback. And I think that's one of the things that makes WOW so special, is that we're run by WOW members who are there every week, who are engaged, who want to be more of a part of it. So we take suggestions and we try to make them work.
And it's so evident. So Juan, one of the things I wanted to ask you about was you have this beautiful habit of, okay, we're going to do this breakout room, we're going to do that breakout room, and you're really fast, you're very engaged with it. And then you give people an opportunity to choose their own. What on earth prompted that? Because I hadn't seen that before.
Yeah, right. We always like to keep people in surprise, and again, it's always keeping people engaged. And with the beauty of the choosing your own room is the fact that every week, whether you go to a networking group or everywhere, you might see it's the same person, and you may want to engage with them. This gives you an opportunity now that we go into separate breakout rooms. You have now the ability to engage to somebody that you really wanted to connect to. You even say like for us, because we got to keep in mind these breakout rooms are only like 5 to 7 minutes usually, and you got a short amount of time. But if there's somebody you really wanted to connect and you want to get their number, you want to get their contact information, now you have ability during the meeting to connect with them, really connect with them and network with them.
And so Juan, tell us something about WOW that we haven't been able to cover yet in this.
Well, one of the things that I like to say about WOW is that we are not your traditional transactional networking. We're more personal. And I always say people do business who they like and they trust. You want to start as a friendship first, then you build the trust, then finally business. And it's usually like that. So people, it's interesting. People come to the WOW, they first of all, they're surprised. You don't have one per industry? I'm like, no, man, we're like a church. We open up everybody. Everybody's welcome. And you know what? At the end of the day, you could have a room of 100 financial advisors. You're going to do business with one because guess what? You like them and you trust them and you're going to do business with them. And it's that simple.
Right. And that's the thing. It's a very simple concept. However, I know how complicated it is to have all these moving parts moving correctly. So, Robin, any last thoughts you want to share with us on WOW before we wrap up?
Well, you know what? I think you need to come and you need to visit and you need to stay, because once you're a wowie, you do stay. And that's one of the things that I heard. We have a lot of things coming for this fall. So I'm going to be excited to come back here and have another conversation with you after we launch a whole bunch of new things, and very excited to be part of such a bullet train that's going down the track. So stay tuned, because we definitely have, we have a lot of things coming.
And Juan, as we wrap this up and take it home, any closing thoughts you have for people who are kind of beating the tires, kicking the tires and want to find out more about WOW?
It's really simple. You want to go to winningonwednesday.com, and if you're new, you can register there, and you can when you register, you can tell us a little bit about yourself. And really, we're there to become your friends. Just come there with an open mind and an open heart, and we'll be your friends, and we'll help you get business.
And thank you so much for joining us today on the WOW Broadcasting Network. Did you know that you could join us free of charge? There are 3 levels of membership for the WOW Network. You're welcome to visit us on our website, winningonwednesdays.com, and click on the membership link to see all 3 tiers of programming that is offered to generous entrepreneurs like yourself. You're welcome to join us and donate your time to our network by offering advice and mentorship to these budding business builders, or you can come and be more of a sponsor to WOW by offering to incorporate us in your monthly budget as you receive various levels of promotion, shout outs, and press through our online and in-person events. Robin Schatzkin is the perfect person to connect with on WOW to learn more about our programming and sponsorship opportunities. Have a great day today, and thank you for joining us. And remember to go out today and do something that wows someone.